The outpost on Valera 7 wasn't much to look at. A cluster of prefabricated structures clinging to the edge of a crystalline forest where trees grew in geometric patterns that defied Earth's understanding of botany. Lyra Corps had been stationed there for 8 months, cataloging alien flora for the Terran Survey Corps, and in all that time, she'd seen exactly 3 other humans. The Vrin, however, were everywhere. They called themselves the Vrin, though Earth's xenobiologists had initially designated them Felis giganteus sapiens, before realizing how insulting that was. They looked like massive cats, lions crossed with tigers, standing upright on powerful hind legs, with intelligent amber eyes and fur that shimmered with bioluminescent patterns when they communicated. They were proud, ancient, and their civilization had mastered faster-than-light travel while humans were still painting caves. Lyra had learned to respect their space. The Vrin didn't trust easily, and humans were newcomers to this sector, clumsy, loud, and prone to breaking things they didn't understand. That's why she was surprised when she noticed the small figure limping toward her station just after dawn. At first, Lyra thought it was an animal, some native creature she hadn't cataloged yet. But as it drew closer, struggling through the violet grass that came up to its shoulders, she realized what it was: a Vrin cub. Lyra set down her scanner and stepped out of the station, her boots crunching on the frost-covered ground. The cub couldn't have been more than 3 feet tall, its fur a dark gold streaked with black, one of its hind legs dragging uselessly behind it. "Hey there," Lyra said softly, crouching down. "You okay, little one?" The cub stopped, its ears flattening against its skull. Its eyes, huge in the color of molten copper, fixed on her with an intensity that made her breath catch. Then slowly it took another painful step forward. Behind it, the forest seemed to move. Lyra's hand went instinctively to the pulse pistol at her hip as shapes emerged from between the crystalline trees. Vrin. Dozens of them. Adults, their bodies rippling with muscle and authority, their bioluminescent patterns flickering in what she'd learned to recognize as agitation. They formed a semicircle around the clearing, but they didn't advance. They just watched. The cub limped another step closer, and Lyra could see the injury now. A deep gash running from its hip to its knee, the flesh around it swollen and discolored with infection. The kind of wound that would kill without treatment. "Jesus," Lyra whispered. She looked up at the assembled Vrin, searching for some explanation, but their faces were unreadable. "Why haven't you taken him to your medics?" One of the largest Vrin, a male with a mane of silver and scars across his muzzle, stepped forward. When he spoke, his voice was a deep rumble that Lyra's translator struggled to render into words. "They have tried. The wound resists our medicine. The cub is Threx, son of the pack leader. He will die before moonrise." The Vrin's eyes narrowed. "Unless you help." Lyra blinked. "Me? I'm not a medic. I study plants." "You are human," another Vrin said, this one female, her patterns glowing a urgent red. "Humans survive what should kill them. Humans mend what cannot be mended. We have heard the stories." "The stories?" Lyra almost laughed. The galaxy was full of stories about humans, most of them exaggerated, some of them completely fabricated. Humans who fought off Krell raiders with nothing but improvised weapons. Humans who survived vacuum exposure. Humans who patched starship hulls with duct tape and prayer. Humanity, fuck yeah, that's what the other species whispered, with equal parts awe and bewilderment. But this was a dying child. Threx took another step, and his leg buckled. He fell hard, a small whimper escaping his throat before he could suppress it. Lyra didn't think. She rushed forward, catching the cub before his head hit the ground. He was heavier than he looked, his body radiating heat like a furnace. Up close, she could smell the infection, sweet and rotten. The wound had been treated. She could see that now, but whatever the Vrin medics had used had failed. The flesh was necrotizing. "Okay," Lyra breathed, her mind racing. "Okay, let me think." She carried Threx into her station, acutely aware of the dozens of Vrin eyes following her every movement. Inside, she laid him on her examination table, the one she used for plant samples. He didn't resist, but his claws extended involuntarily, scraping against the metal. Lyra pulled up her medical database, the basic emergency training all Survey Corps members received. It wasn't much, but it was something. She cross-referenced Vrin physiology, what little was known about their biochemistry. The problem was clear. The Vrin medics had used a broad-spectrum antimicrobial, but it was designed for Vrin pathogens. The infection eating through Threx's leg wasn't Vrin in origin. It was something alien to this world, something his immune system couldn't recognize, but maybe something a human immune system could. It was insane. It was dangerous. But Lyra had heard those stories too, about human immune systems, adaptable and aggressive, attacking anything foreign, about human blood, with its iron-based cells and its tendency to clot and heal. She looked down at Threx. His breathing was shallow, his bioluminescent patterns barely flickering. "Screw it," Lyra muttered. She pulled out her emergency medical kit and found the plasma extractor, a device meant for emergency transfusions between humans. She pressed it against her arm, watching as it drew blood into a sterile container, separating the plasma from the cells. Then she modified the injector, adjusting the dosage for Threx's smaller body mass, and prayed she wasn't about to kill him. "This is either going to work," she said to the unconscious cub, "or I'm going to start an interstellar incident." She injected the human plasma around the wound site, watching as her blood mixed with his. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Threx's entire body convulsed. Lyra grabbed him, holding him steady as he thrashed, his temperature spiking. She could hear movement outside, the Vrin pack pressing closer, their growls vibrating through the station walls. "Come on," Lyra whispered. "Come on, kid. Humans are stubborn, and apparently our blood is too. Fight!" The convulsions slowed, stopped. Threx's breathing evened out, and the color of the infection began to change, from black-green to red, then to pink as the necrotic tissue started to slough away. Lyra grabbed antiseptic and clean bandages, working quickly to clean the wound properly now that the infection was dying. She could see healthy tissue underneath, already beginning to regenerate. By the time she finished, Threx's eyes were open, watching her with that same intense copper stare. "Hey there," Lyra said, her hands shaking with adrenaline. "Welcome back." The door to her station opened, and the silver-maned Vrin stepped inside. He looked at Threx, at the bandaged leg, at Lyra covered in blood, both hers and the cub's. "The stories," he said slowly, "do not do humans justice." Threx struggled to sit up, and Lyra helped him, supporting his weight. The cub looked at her, then reached out with one small paw and placed it over her hand. "Thank you," he said, his voice barely a whisper, but clear through the translator. "You gave your blood. For me." Lyra smiled, exhausted and relieved. "Yeah, well, that's what humans do, I guess. We're too stupid to know when something's impossible." The silver-maned Vrin's patterns flickered, a color Lyra had never seen before, something like gold mixed with blue. Respect, she realized, maybe even gratitude. "The pack will remember this," he said. "Threx, son of the pack leader, lives because of human stubbornness." He paused, and if a Vrin could smile, Lyra thought he might have. "Humanity, fuck yeah." Lyra laughed, the sound verging on hysterical. "Yeah, something like that." Outside, the assembled Vrin began to disperse, their crisis resolved by the strange alien who fixed things with blood and determination. Threx remained on the table, his leg already looking better, his patterns glowing steady and strong,